Good early morning, YouTube. What is going on? It is your host, Crypto Glenn. I want to say thank you to every single one of the new subscribers that has filtered in over the last 2 days. Because of you all, the channel is growing, and I appreciate you all so very much. To everyone else, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate it. There is something that we need to talk about right now. Crypto YouTubers all over the internet have collectively lost their mind. And I don't want to put them on an island and alienate anyone. So in a nice way, I'll say maybe rightfully so, they're a little scared. They're a little frazzled. I think your favorite YouTuber, your favorite crypto YouTuber may actually be a little frazzled. So I want to put this video out and just kind of give my 2 cents as to what's going on in the crypto markets right now, and how I honestly do not believe now is the right time to be panicking. Guys, we have seen a small retracement from 61 to where we're at now. That is 13%. I get it. It's scary, but let's be honest, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. One thing that I do want to kind of go over here is the technical side as well as the fundamental side, to really kind of give you all maybe some information that you hadn't quite seen before. And really just to kind of offer my own point here. Okay, so let's take a look at this from the technical side. Your favorite crypto YouTuber, whoever that may be, for some of you, if that's me, hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. What we see here is, Bitcoin's going through a little bit of a slumper right now. Currently, we're at 53,593. However, if you're paying attention here to this upward wedge, if you will, that we're in, this is what has a lot of people rubbed, if you will, or uncomfortable, because typically speaking, whenever you see a ascending wedge, it typically turns out to be a very bearish pattern. However, I think what a lot of people are not considering is that sometimes when you are in an uptrend, the negative bearish pattern does not break the way that most people think it will. So what I've done here is I've actually drawn out my own ascending wedge. You see I've made connection points 1, 2, 3 times with our support line, twice with our resistance. And I even went ahead and put in an additional support line here. Now, the thing that you've got to keep in mind with this is, and this is going to be, for folks that are kind of familiar with the TA side, this additional support, this is kind of indicative of a reversal. And normally what this states is you can tell that the buyers are in control whenever this tends to break on the other side of this line. And we've already had it show up once, and we're going to be kind of testing it here just on the other side of this triangle. So it's not necessarily the overall ascending wedge that I'm concerned with, but it's more so this triangle. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting. I'm going to tell you right now, no clickbait, no funny YouTube thumbnail. I believe that overall Bitcoin is still in a very bullish situation. Yes, we have a tiny amount of divergence going on here on the RSI. However, when you look at where we're at now, this thing on the 4-hour is significantly oversold, and that's good for Bitcoin. Right now, we're approaching a very nice mid-range zone on the daily, and you see the same thing here. We haven't broken our support line. Okay. Now that we have the technicals out of the way, before we move on, I want to reiterate that while not one of these alone is enough to paint the overall picture, we have to have multiple indicators, oscillators that corroborate what it is that we're thinking. So the thing that makes me feel still bullish is the fact that, again, if we're looking on the 4-hour, we've already broken once on the other side of this support trend line. That could signal the bulls are actually still trying to regain control. The other thing is that we have not broke beneath this support line. When you look at our price on the the volume profile, our price is still above the value area. That is definitely a bullish sign. Being oversold on the 4-hour. Hey, we needed a little bit of a cool off. We've got it now. Let's take a look at where we're at on the daily. Price still way above value area. Price or RSI still coming down into a sweet spot within the RSI. Okay. Not to mention that the sell pressure that you're getting is not all that strong compared to previous amounts of sell pressure that you've been getting. Make no mistake about it. We have to get bids, but overall, I think personally, I am more bullish than I am bearish. That's the technical side. Let's move on to the fundamentals, because last I checked, nothing with Bitcoin has changed fundamentally. Your government, the US government, has still printed more stimulus in the last 6 months than we've ever seen before. 25 to 30% of all the circulating dollars that are in existence currently have been printed within the last quarter, or at least the last 2 quarters, as opposed to before we even got into 2021. That is still a very, very bullish situation for Bitcoin. Right now, I want to take a look at some on-chain metrics, because I like doing a culmination of research whenever I'm trying to figure out where Bitcoin could possibly go. Now, while you may never get this 100% right, for me, it has proven to be fairly accurate, and it's helped me make better decisions in terms of my trading. So here we have a chart that makes up the total transfer volume of Bitcoin to exchanges. Now, what this says is when you have Bitcoin that are making their way to an exchange, it's usually preceded by, or it's usually followed by, a strong sell-off in price. Does everybody remember this? This is the article that came out about the Tether fiasco late February that happened shortly. The story came out and then Bitcoin dropped. So this happened shortly before Bitcoin dropped. So if you take a look at this date here, this went live February 23rd. This was a story of the New York AG that basically got on Tether's case, and they settled out of court for $850 million. What did that do to the price of Bitcoin? So that was February 23rd. What is this? This is January 22nd. So here you actually see on the 22nd, 90,000 plus Bitcoin were actually loaded up on exchanges. And from there, we were followed by a dump to 46. So here the price was, what is this? Oh, forgive me, guys. Do I have that wrong? That's right. Yeah. So here we have, prior to us actually taking that dip, we were knocking on the door to 60,000. Does everybody remember that? This was the actual high that we had achieved before breaking 60,000. The AIG Tether New York story comes out on CoinDesk. Bitcoin is loaded up, the story breaks, and that takes us down to 45,000. So from 57,000 down to 47,000. Obviously, we come out of that. Now here we are here. This is the current little bit of a dip that we're in now, where price is going down. Now this is interesting because the day that the price started to break down, the amount of Bitcoin that had been sent to exchanges was some 40,000. At our highest here, we had seen 90,000, just over 90,000. This is such a small blip on the radar, it's almost infinitesimal, okay? What I'm telling you is don't, take this into context. Remember this, and then keep in mind that we've only dropped 13% from 61,000 to 53. We haven't even dropped a full $10,000 yet. Like I said, we've only dropped about 13%. We haven't broken this support line. I don't think that we are in a cause for panic when it comes to Bitcoin, and I don't think it does us any good to listen to YouTubers that get a bit hysterical in their videos because they want to try and generate clicks, they want to try and generate views. I don't think it does their audience any good, because then their audience is going to panic as well, especially if at the end of the video they say, well, we don't know if it's going to go up and down. Great. Well, what did you put out a 15-minute video for, trying to scare the bejesus out of everybody? There is so much bullish news coming out for Bitcoin. This is what I mean when I say the fundamentals for Bitcoin haven't changed. We've taken a look at the technical analysis. We've seen indicators on the technical side that say that technically we should still be very, very bullish about Bitcoin. Now we're going to take a look at the fundamentals. The head of New York Dig, which is a major financial firm, says that major firms will announce Bitcoin milestones next week. This was literally just put out a few days ago, okay? The CEO of NY Dig basically said that we're on the brink of mass adoption. This is the critical swing that we will see prior to us seeing this Bitcoin super cycle take off. Now, I'm not going to read through all of this, but if you just go to Cointelegraph, if you have an inkling and you want to check it out, the article is there for you. And he goes on to say that I know starting more or less next week, you're going to see an absolute drumbeat of pretty game-changing milestones from some of these firms. These are supposed to be very, very well-noted companies. I have one that I want to share with you here. Gutman is a co-founder of a $10 billion asset manager fund, Stone Ridge. He told the publication, that we're on the brink of critical mass adoption here. Follow that up with Plan B actually having to go through and redo his stock to flow model ratio that says that Bitcoin could potentially see $500,000 this cycle. And even before the end of 2021, we could be somewhat knocking on the door to $100,000. The reason why I put a lot of stock in this, because for the most part, everything that Plan B has said has pretty much come to pass. So if he says that I've had to go through and I've had to redo my stock to flow model, and in my opinion, that Bitcoin will not stop at $100,000 and will continue on to 288,000 as the average price level of all-time high, will be higher. Like, people need to be taking this into account. Things have not changed fundamentally for Bitcoin. Brazil has gone on to approve its first Bitcoin ETF in Latin America. People have been saying that this could be one of the main drivers for Bitcoin reaching an all-time high like we have never seen before. If only we could get one of these passed here in the United States of America. I think it's funny that you're starting to see more and more of these pop up in countries all over the world. Digital asset manager QR Capital reveals that it has received a green light to launch the first ever Latin American Bitcoin exchange traded fund. In a series of tweets, QR says, and I don't really speak Spanish, but Brazil Securities Exchange Commission approved the Bitcoin ETF, which will be listed on the Brazilian Stock Exchange under the ticker QBTC11. Very, very bullish. Very, very bullish situation for Bitcoin right here that we're looking at. Oh, how timely. Skybridge Capital, the latest to file Bitcoin ETF, applies with US SEC. Why are all these new Bitcoin ETF applications being sent in now to the SEC? Maybe it's because Jay Clayton is no longer with the SEC, and the new guy that's running the show is said to be a bit more crypto friendly than the last group of folks that were running it. The New York-based investment firm Skybridge Capital has filed for a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Skybridge submitted the filing on March 19th. This was literally but a few days ago, in partnership with investment advisor First Trust Advisors. First Trust will act as a fund's advisory and Skybridge serving as a sub-advisor. Guys, it is happening. We are right around the corner. So when I see the price dip 13%, I'm not freaking out because I understand what's going on. You have the smart money that is trying to shake the weak hands out and take the money from the quote-unquote dumb money and move it to the smart money. Be mindful of where you get your information from on YouTube, and be mindful of the people that put up the funny, thumbnails and just want to clickbait you to try and get you to panic so you can sell. And at the end of the video, they say, well, we don't know. You don't need that. You do a fine job of scaring yourself. You don't need it to come from the people that you trust to get you information about what's going on in the crypto markets. Turks look for Bitcoin as lira collapses. Bitcoin is now the world's third largest currency. I remember when Bitcoin was number 6 on the list, and here you are, neck and neck with the Japanese yen. Deutsche Bank says that Bitcoin is too important to ignore. So why are we freaking out about this little miniature sell-off that's happening in the markets right now? Understand that this is all engineered by design. In a tweet that was published on the 21st of March, the Turkish lira fell 14% against Bitcoin. 14% against the US dollar. The Google searches for Bitcoin had doubled that day. These are clearly people who are looking for the lifeboat. This is one I don't really think you guys are ready for. SpaceX, that's right, SpaceX, the company that is owned by Elon Musk himself. SpaceX has Bitcoin on its balance sheet. Anthony Scaramucci says, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Forgive me if I didn't. Skybridge Capital founder Anthony Scaramucci has dropped a bombshell on Twitter claiming that Elon Musk aerospace manufacturer SpaceX now owns Twitter on its balance sheet. And when was this published? This was published on the 19th. We can only speculate about whether or not SpaceX, excuse me guys, it's pretty early here in the morning, actually got into Bitcoin since it's not a public company, meaning that it wouldn't basically have to report its purchase to the United States Security Exchange Commission. New York Dig, in an article that I just showed you, that article came out a week and a half ago. They said around this time this week, we should be hearing more information about more, these bigger companies that have basically taken Bitcoin on and started to invest in Bitcoin themselves. What do you think is going to happen to that price when word that SpaceX has Bitcoin on their balance sheets breaks? Or if an Apple comes out and they say that they've been investing in Bitcoin, or Google, or any number of companies that you can think of that might be one of these huge companies that Robbie Gutman was talking about are going to come out and basically announce that they have been investing in Bitcoin. Guys, do not panic. Do not panic. I'm going to share something with you, and I'm trying to avoid an epic rant, but every time I see something like this, it gets harder and harder to avoid the rant. So here's the deal. You see that I have all of this, these highlights around this 3,200 area, this $3,000 area. That's because for the most part, this is where I bought in. All right. So the people out there that are the whales and they think they're cool because they can move the price at their whim. Like, dude, if I got in, I got around here, around right here. If I got in here and I wrote this bad boy all the way up to 20,000, bought in more when it dropped down to 32, and it didn't scare me off here. You're not going to scare me or other investors off here, taking us down to here. You want to show us that you're real big and that you're bad and that you're, the lords of Bitcoin or whatever it is that you consider yourself. Do us all a favor. Bring it down here. Bring it down here. Because I'm telling you something. If I'm buying up here, and there's other investors that are buying up here, we're going to buy here. We're going to buy here. We're damn sure going to buy here, and you had better believe we're going to buy here. But you're not going to drop it down here, because in order for you, the whales, to drop it down here, you would have to sell your bags. And here's the thing about that. Investors like myself, when the market gives us cheaper than fair market value Satoshis, we're going to take that and we're not going to give it back. So you want to show me and you want to show the rest of the group that you're big and that you're bad, take Bitcoin all the way down here. I dare you. I double dare you, but you won't do it. Because here I'm an honorary whale, and others like me are honorary whales, because we know exactly what this space represents. Let me tell you something. You bring them shits down here, you turn us into a whale for real. I've already seen the articles, headlines. Whales basically capitulate and transfer wealth to retail investors. Go ahead. You want to show me you're big and bad, bring that price all the way down here, because here is where I would end up backing the dump truck up and just buying everything. All this all up in here. This little pussyfoot game that's going on. Oh, we're going to take you from 61 and we're going to bring you down to here. Like, we all don't already know where this is going. How about you do us all a favor? Let's just stop with the shenanigans. We already know we're going up past $100,000. Let's just get there, huh? What do you say? Because unless you're going to drop it all the way down here, you're wasting everybody's time. You may scare a few people out here, but you're not going to scare the people who really understand where this space is going. And even though Bitcoin's taking a little bit of a hit now, which is fine, which is absolutely fine, the market cap is still well over $1 trillion. Bitcoin is still knocking on the door to $1 trillion. And guess what? All the alts that everybody else wants to get is on sale. We all already know where this is going. What did I do before shooting this video? I got more Bitcoin. Firm believer in it. I saw that we were going down. I opened up shorts. So I'm going to collect Satoshis that way. I'm going to collect Bitcoin that way. And I'm also going to collect it by buying it. And when I get cheap Satoshis at beyond fair market value prices, I don't give it back. And there are others out there that are like me that are not going to give it back. So be mindful of who you're paying attention to. Be mindful of where you're getting your information from. And if Bitcoin does end up dipping way below this mark, it's fine because it's going to recover. But I am still super hyper bullish Bitcoin long term. I'm not concerned about what we're going to do right here. It just doesn't matter. It's a blip on the radar. Right now, I'm taking a look at what other altcoins I can continuously stack up on to fill more bags. And I want you all to do the same. It's going to be okay. We're going to get past 60. We're going to go to 72. We're going to go to 75. We'll be north of 100. And then you get to play the game. What do I do? When do I get out? How do I get out? And you should probably be thinking about that right now. I'm not worried about what the price of Bitcoin is doing. I'm not worried about these whales that think they're cool because they got in or they had more money than everybody else. No. We already know where this is going. Just stay calm and don't panic. And don't fall for the clickbait. There's plenty of things out there in this world that are going to try and scare you off. You don't need your favorite crypto YouTuber to try and do it to you too. I'm still very hyper bullish on Bitcoin. Crypto Glenn out. See y'all in the next one. Peace. And someone tell MMCrypto to calm down. It's going to be okay.